Show me. इसके अलावा इधर दिया नीली का वो क्या नीली वाला क्या आप लोगों ने different branches of biology. Yeah. Want the notes of that or what? I provide you the notes for that.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll do that. वो आपको याद करना है, ठीक है? So, I will give you the notes of all these classes, the namings, okay? Different branches, no, of biology. Understood? I'll give it to ma'am. Ma'am will share the PDF with you all. Is it fine? All right. So, just make a quick recap. Just make a quick recap what we did yesterday, and then we'll move ahead. All right. So in yesterday's lecture, we discussed about the chapter tissue. What is a tissue? A group of cells perform. The function can be similar or different. A group of cells are performing different functions together or similar functions together. Understood? Yes or no? So a group of cells performing similar functions. Now these tissues, it can be broadly classified under two broad subheads. It can be a plant tissue and it can be a animal tissues. Now, if I talk about plant tissues, friends, if I talk about plant tissues specifically, so in plant tissues, mostly they are dead. Okay, mostly the plant tissues are they are dead. And why are they dead? Yeah, because the plants are static or they are immobile. So major function of these tissues are to provide a structural support as well as protection. What is clear? Yes or no? And those which are living, they divide to a certain extent of time. This part is clear? Those tissues which are living, जो जिंदा है प्लांट में, जो tissues जिंदा है वो डिवाइड करते हैं. Very right point. But to a certain extent, they don't divide throughout their lifetime. Is this part clear? Getting me at the back? Okay. So those tissues which divide, okay, the divisions are for a limited period. Is this part clear with everyone? Yes or no? Now, if I talk about the animal tissues, so animal tissues are mostly the living tissues, and they divide, they divide throughout their lifetime. Throughout the lifetime. अब इसमें हम लोगों ने कुछ एक्सेप्शंस देखा था, जैसे कि नर्वस टिश्यूज एंड ऑल. क्लियर? सो नर्वस टिश्यूज में हम लोगों ने देखा था एक्सेप्शंस में nervous tissues. Ready my point? Yes, no? Now in the nervous tissues, what we observed was that in the nervous tissues, basically, if you see the nervous tissues, it is broadly classified under two broad subheads. Okay, one is called as central nervous system, and the other one is called as the peripheral nervous system. Getting my point? Yes or no? Yes. Now, central nervous system basically comprises of brain and a spinal cord. Brain and a spinal cord. Is this part clear? So, brain and the spinal cord muscles, or sorry, these tissues, they don't divide throughout the lifetime. Once they are damaged forever. Okay, just 1 second. Okay. Hello. हाँ हाँ बोलिए. हाँ तो शालन निवास करके है ना, तो उसके ऑपोजिट में, ऑपोजिट वाला जो बिल्डिंग है. हाँ यस यस, उसके आगे आएंगे ना तो शालन निवास करके है, तो शालन निवास के ऑपोजिट में जो व्हाइट कलर का बिल्डिंग है ना, तो उसमें सेकंड फ्लोर पे 201. ठीक है, ऑपोजिट शालन निवास, ऑपोजिट जो है व्हाइट बिल्डिंग जो है उस पे 201 जाने का. ठीक है, सेकंड फ्लोर. ओके थैंक यू. ओके सॉरी. सो if I talk about the central nervous system, so it comprises of the brain and the spinal cord. So these tissues, once they're damaged forever. They don't regenerate, including the cardiac tissues also. Is this part clear with everyone? But when I talk about the peripheral nervous system, so in the peripheral nervous system, basically peripheral nervous system, it connects those tissues which connects the central nervous system with the effector. Understanding my point? Yes or no? Effector. Effector means, I said yesterday also, sensation to pain, touch. All these are the sensations that we feel. Clear? And when we feel these things, so the connecting neurons, which is connecting the CNS with the effector, like my hand will be the effector. I'll move my hand once I am in contact with some hot water or some hot substance. Getting my point? So my hand will be an effector. My legs will be an effector. My other body, my eyes will be an effector. Getting my point? So all these are part of peripheral nervous system. So those neurons and all which are associated with the PNS and all, so they can regenerate throughout the lifetime, but not the issues related to the central nervous system. That includes brain, spinal cord, and also this is basically CNS comprised of brain and spinal cord only. Let's remember these things, okay? And along with that, the heart muscles also. Is this part clear with everyone? Yes or no? Clear है? यहाँ तक clear है? Now, if I talk about these two tissues, so first one I discussed yesterday was the plant tissues. So plant tissues broadly classified into two broader subcategories. So one is called as a meristematic tissues, and the other one is called as a permanent tissues. Now, if I talk about the meristematic tissues, so what we discussed yesterday was the meristematic tissues. They keeps on dividing. They keeps on dividing, and their major function is what? the growth and development of the plant. Getting my point? This is part clear in everyone. Yes, no? Yes. So those tissues which keep on dividing and their main function is the growth and the development of the plant. Okay, so that can be included under what? The meristematic tissues. Is this part clear? Now, permanent tissues are are those meristematic tissues only. Permanent tissues are those meristematic tissues only that has lost the power of regeneration. As simple as that. Is this part clear? So permanent tissues are those tissues that has lost the power of regeneration, and it gets converted into it gets converted into into permanent one. Gets converted into permanent one. Is this part clear with everyone? Yes, no? Yes. Yeah. At the back, clear, right? This side. That's what. Now, moving ahead, if I talk about the meristematic tissues again, so meristematic tissues में हम लोगों ने डिस्कस किया था कल कि तीन तरह का meristematic tissues होता है. एक होता है एपिकल, एक होता है लैटरल और तीसरा होता है इंटर कैलरी. Apical meristem is responsible for root and shoot elongation. Elongation, you understand? Yes. Clear? Lateral meristem is lateral meristem is responsible for increasing the girth of the plant. And intercalary is branch elongations. Understood? Branch elongations, and you can say diversifications. This is part clear? Okay. So branch elongation and diversification. After this, we also discussed about this meristematic, then the permanent tissues. In the permanent tissues, what we discussed yesterday? This permanent tissues, we discussed about simple permanent tissues, and the other one was complex permanent tissues. Understood? In the simple permanent tissues, we also discussed about some sub-classifications such as parenchyma, then parenchyma, then collenchyma, and then third one was sclerenchyma. In the parenchyma, again I said that certain types of parenchyma tissues which are responsible for performing photosynthesis can be called as, what are they called as? Florenchyma. And those type of parenchyma which are responsible for making the plants afloat are called as parenchyma. Similarly, about collenchyma, what I said, the main function of collenchyma is provide the flexibility. Clear? It provides the flexibility. Now, the last one was the sclerenchyma. Main function of the sclerenchyma is It is hard and stuff, right? So main function will be, if I say hard and the hard covering and all, then what would be the main function? Protection. Clear? It the main function is to provide protection. Simple. Is this part clear? Yes or no? Because I know to understand and to go this much deep is it won't be possible. Okay, because it's not only the one subject. You have to study so many subjects. Getting my point? The thing is, in the exams, they will ask you those questions only which you can solve you without going much into deeper concepts. Okay, just you have to understand the concept little bit only. You don't have to do the PhD in this field. Clear? Yes or no? UPSC is all about being the jack of all trades and the master of none. Understood? So you should have the knowledge of mathematics also, the reasoning also, English also, history, geography, polity, environment, economy, current affairs, social justice, empowerment, etc. Whatever is there, or environment, ecology, everything. Getting my point? Science and tech, etc. Clear? Basics again. Understood? So you have to study this much. But you don't have to go much into very deep into that. Just have to grab the concepts and all, and then you revise those things. This part is clear? Now, one more thing, let me highlight here only. Friends, in the UPSC exams, you will find some questions which you have never read, or even no master, no faculty in India can teach that. Getting my point? Yes or no? So those questions are just put in the question paper just to leave. They don't want you to interfere that question. Don't go into that question. Getting my point? Because that is actually a trap that is set for you. Understood? So this clearing the prelims, UPSC prelims is like you have to find a way by skipping all those traps and then reach your destination. Understood my point? Yes or no? So many questions are there which is just like a trap. You don't have to touch those questions. Clear? And even with so much of deeper knowledge also, you cannot solve that. Even Tina Ravi, who was a doctor also in 2000, I think, business ID. Right? And she also would not, if she would not have been in OBC category, then she would not have qualified the prelims also. Getting my point? Yes or no? But she talked in the merit list, she was on rank one. Understood? With this, I want to say that prelims is very tough, and yes, and it is just like to get approximately 50% of the marks. That's it. You have to think that I should get 50 to 55%. You don't have to get 70% or 80%. Even the toppers also they don't get 50%. Getting my point? Yes or no? 60 means out of 100 questions, they even don't reach 60 also. Getting my point? And and those who get like they qualify for the prelims, around 45-50 questions if overall, removing the negative marking and all. If they are lying in that bracket for general 45 to 50, if they are much comfortable. Understood this point? And out of 40 to 45, means 45 to 50, what I'm saying, 20 questions are like any layman or who has done a graduation with a very religiously who has done the graduation, okay, and has a good concept. Easily he can solve 20 questions. The game is of 20 questions. Understood? And again, you want to think it's a questions or 30 questions. But yes, these 30 questions are those big 30 questions. Understood, everyone? So the fight is for these 30 questions only. 20, if suppose that I give you the question paper now, at least I think most of you will be able to solve at least 10 to 15 questions. Cutoff is at 45 to 50. The game is of only 30 questions. Understanding my point? Yes or no? But to get these 30 questions, your mind will be like hell. Getting my point? You have to do your brainstorming. Extremely to arrive at a right answer. Getting my point? And for that, you have to have mastery over the elimination. That elimination technique. That's what. And this elimination technique can only be gained by having this type of information and knowledge. Is this part clear now? Why I am going into this deeper pockets? Might be some of you will be thinking that why sir is going into deeper pockets. But the reason is it will help you in eliminating the wrong options. समझ में आया क्या मैं बोलना चाह रहा हूँ? ओके ये आपको रॉन्ग ऑप्शंस को आंसर से हटाने में ये मदद करेगा ये नॉलेज. Now, after this, we also discussed about the complex permanent tissues. In the complex permanent tissues, we discussed about two types of complex permanent tissues. These were the xylem and the phloem. So, xylem main function is actually the conduction of water and the minerals from the roots to the leaves or the photosynthetic part of the plant. Is this part clear? Whereas the function of the phloem is to transfer the prepared food material from the leaves or the photosynthetic part to different parts of the plant. Is this part clear? Now, xylem and phloem again together. Xylem and phloem together are called as vascular bundles. Okay. Vascular bundles. Now, xylem again, I discussed some more thing about xylem yesterday. I said that why is it? Okay. I discussed something about xylem yesterday. I said that dead xylem are located where? Are located at the center of the stem. Is this part clear? And this is called as dead xylem. And dead xylem is also known by one more name called as heartwood. And heartwood is regarded as the hardest wood. Is this part clear with everyone? Yes or no? If they ask you, the hardest wood is known as is phloem. Hardest wood is phloem or a dead phloem. Answer should be xylem. It is wrong. Is this part clear? Now after this, every year, one rings are formed every year in the plant, and mostly by counting the number of rings we can calculate the age of the plant. Okay, by counting the number of rings we can calculate the age of the plant, and this technique is called as, or this branch of science is known as dendrochronology. This part is clear. Now, after this, I also discussed about the phloem. So, phloem are located at the inner bark. Okay, and this is called as cambium. Okay, these are the phloems, and in center we have a xylem. Is this part clear with everyone? Yes or no? Now, after this, I also discussed about this much only, right? In the plant tissues. Now, after this, I discussed about the animal tissues. In the animal tissues, I discussed about various types of tissues which are found in animals. Okay, and these tissues basically I classified into how many types? Four types. Which were these four types? Tell me. Epithelial, then tissue, then connective tissue, then muscle tissues or muscular tissues, okay, and nervous tissues, right? Muscular tissues and nervous tissues. Now, in the epithelial tissues, main function, if someone asks you, what's the main function of epithelial tissues? What is its main function? Answer should be protection. Remember this. Is this part clear? Protection means it forms a outer lining. Understanding my point? Yes or no? Outer lining of the organs, such as gut, intestinal walls, or kidney walls, right? Or in the mouth, right? Lining of the mouth, esophagus, lining of the esophagus, etc., etc. it will be or the skin lining. Getting my point? So all this will be the part of epithelial tissues. Is this part clear? Now in the epithelial tissues, we discussed about some of its types, such as squamous, such as cuboidal, such as columnar. Is this part clear? So I have mentioned where are these three found. Is this part clear? Yes, no? Yes. This is about the epithelial tissues. Now, if I talk about the connective tissues, so in the connective tissues, we discussed about multiple types of tissues. First of all, it was fluid connective tissues. In the fluid connective tissues, what we discussed, by the way, fluid connective tissues, it will include blood and lymph. Yes or no? Blood and lymph. Yes or no? Blood and lymph. Blood and lymph. So blood, if I talk about the blood, basically blood composition we discussed yesterday. What were these compositions? Tell me firstly, RBC, then WBC, then platelets and plasma. Now, by the way, RBC stands for red blood corpuscles. WBC, white blood corpuscles. Very good. Now, if I talk about RBC, red blood corpuscles, if I talk about red blood corpuscles, you please tell me, friends. Ah, ah, this one here. Here. No, I wanted this. Yeah. Okay, leave. So RBC, if I talk about RBC, so it stands for red blood corpuscles. Okay. Now one more thing, friends. If we say about red blood corpuscles, so sometimes they may ask you that the red blood corpuscles are produced where? Okay, this is a very common question that have been asked. And where are they destroyed? Third question can be what is the lifespan of the RBC? Ready my point? And the fourth question that can be asked from this area will be which element is present in RBC? Is this part clear? So यहाँ से चार क्वेश्चन निकल के आता है from RBC. Ready my point? So RBC के अंदर की अगर हम बात करते हैं, if we talk about RBC, so RBC basically red blood corpuscles. Its main function of RBC O2 transport. तो जब हम बात करते हैं O2 transport की, then you tell me which pigment is there? Tell me in our RBC which pigment is there? RBC, red blood corpuscles. Iron is a element. I am asking about which pigment is there? Hemoglobin. Yes or no? Yes or no? आयरन तो इसके बाद का स्टेप होगा ना, जब आपसे पूछेंगे कि हेमोग्लोबिन में कौन सा एलिमेंट प्रेजेंट होता है. Yes or no? So hemoglobin, if they ask you in the exam, the blood has a pigment, okay, which is responsible for the O2 transport. अगर ये क्वेश्चन आपसे आता है तो आपका आंसर क्या होगा? हेमोग्लोबिन होगा. Hemoglobin. This pigment is responsible for the O2 transport. Hemoglobin. Is this part clear? Clear, right? Okay. Now, if I talk about hemoglobin, little bit, okay, hemoglobin. So hemoglobin is actually two words. Getting my point? ब्लड के अंदर बोलते हैं ना ब्लड रेड होता है, तो क्यों रेड होता है तो बोल सकते हैं उसके अंदर आयरन होता है, बट आयरन कहाँ पे होता है, तो दैट विच इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल, हेमोग्लोबिन इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल। इज दिस पॉइंट क्लियर? सो ब्लड में जो हेमोग्लोबिन होता है, सो हेमोग्लोबिन इज कॉल्ड एज हेमिन, दैट इज हेमिन मींस आयरन Fe, and globin is a protein. Getting my point? Yes or no? So the blood has a pigment called as hemoglobin. Is this part clear? Blood has a pigment called as hemoglobin. And what is hemoglobin? Hemoglobin is heme plus globulin. Globulin. So heme is iron and globulin is protein. This is clear, everyone? Yes, no? Now, after this, if I talk about the main function of hemoglobin, or is what is the main function of hemoglobin? Transport of oxygen. Only transport of oxygen. Is it the only function? Oxygen to transport करेगा ही obviously. Getting my point? But at the same time, जो कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड जो बॉडी में जो सेल्स के अंदर जो डेवलप हो रहा है उसको तो बॉडी से बाहर निकालेगा ना, yes or no? So O2 and CO2 transport. Is this part clear with everyone? Yes or no? Sometimes कभी कभी पेपर में पढ़ते हैं कहीं पे किसी प्रीमाइसेस में आग लग गया तो क्या हुआ कि बहुत लोग बाहर निकल नहीं पाए तो घुट के उनका डेथ हो गया। सुना है आपने? ये सुनो क्यों ऐसा होता है? ऑक्सीजन नहीं मिलता, दैट इज वेरी गुड पॉइंट, बट द थिंग इज वहां पे उससे भी ज्यादा लिथल चीज हो रहा है उस इंसान के साथ जिसका डेथ होता है। वहां पे कार्बन मोनोऑक्साइड का डेवलपमेंट बहुत ज्यादा हो जाता है, एंड व्हेन CO2 डेवलपमेंट इज मोर, व्हाट हैपेंस इज दैट hemoglobin has a very high tendency to get combined with CO rather than O2. Understanding my point? Yes or no? So CO or carbon monoxide is having more tendency to combine with hemoglobin. Is this part clear? Rather, hemoglobin combining with oxygen. Is this part clear with everyone? So वहां पे क्या हो जाता है? कार्बोक्सी हेमोग्लोबिन बन जाता है। Understanding my point? Yes or no? And this carboxy hemoglobin, it becomes lethal for human being or any living organism. Is this part clear with everyone? Yes or no? So in short, if I summarize everything, I'll say that the blood has a pigment called as hemoglobin, which is responsible for O2 and CO2 transport. Is this part clear? Now, the next line which I can say is that the blood is basically divided into 4 subheads. Yes. Now, which are these 4 subheads? One is RBC, that is red blood corpuscles, WBC, white blood corpuscles, platelets, and plasma. Is this part clear? Now, if I talk about red blood corpuscles, basically red blood corpuscles has hemoglobin in particular terms, if I say, okay, and which element is there in hemoglobin? Iron is there. Is this part clear? Main function of RBC is O2 transport. Moreover, RBC cells, they don't have any nucleus. Second point is, where are RBCs formed? So RBCs are formed in the bone marrow, and they are destroyed where? Spleen. Okay, it is same for others also. Remember these points. Is this part clear? WBC also bone marrow and spleen only. Is this part clear? Now, if I talk about WBC, okay, one more thing. Sometimes they ask, the lifespan of RBC is approximately 120 days. That is why in the blood banks and all, after every 4 months, they used to dispose of the old bloods. Is this part clear? So suppose that they ask the question, why does the blood banks discard the blood after a considerable amount of time period. Answer should be because RBC lifespan is only 120 days and it is of no use for human consumption or means for human uses. Is this part clear? Yes or no? जब RBC ही नहीं है उस ब्लड के अंदर खत्म हो चुका है डेथ हो गया तो फिर वो ब्लड का क्या फायदा होगा? बस वो हो सकता है कि हाँ वॉल्यूम का अगर कमी हो गया है, अगर कोई एक्सीडेंट हुआ है और वो पेशेंट को उसका ब्लड मिल नहीं रहा है, मेरे पास ब्लड है लेकिन आरबीसी उसका डेथ हो गया है, बट हाँ ब्लड बहुत ज्यादा लॉस हो गया है पेशेंट का, तो वॉल्यूम वाइज अगर हम लोग मेंटेन करना चाहते हैं इन दैट कंडीशन it can be transfused. Is this part clear? Yes or no? But generally for general uses it is not. Is this part clear? So 4 months के बाद इसीलिए क्या होता है ब्लड को डिस्कार्ड कर दिया जाता है ब्लड बैंक से. Understood? Now the next part is just these are some additional informations I am giving it to you all. Getting my point? Okay. So you can write here. Have you written these things yesterday? Yes or no? Okay. Those who have not written, please write these things. Okay. Quickly there only in their notes only. Okay. Please write there. In the RBC, you can write it is produced in the bone marrow and destroyed in the spleen. Please write it down firstly. If you have written it is fine. If you have not written, please write it down. Add in your notes. Okay. कल आप आए थे ना? नहीं आए थे? कहाँ चले गए थे? आइएगा रेगुलर, ठीक है? क्योंकि एक क्लास मिस हो जाने के बाद ना थोड़ा सा इंटरेस्ट, आप भी कल सेकंड क्लास चले गए थे कहीं, है ना? एक और बैठे हुए थे वहां पे, वो आपके साथ वो भी नहीं आई थी कल सेकंड लेक्चर में. कहाँ चले गए थे? प्लीज देखिए, आप लोग कंटिन्यूटी रहता है ना क्लास में, तो इससे ये रहता है ना कि इंटरेस्ट रहता है. लेकिन अगर एक दो क्लास मिस हो जाने के बाद ना थोड़ा सा इंटरेस्ट स्टूडेंट लूज करने लगता है. गेटिंग माय पॉइंट? सो जस्ट रिक्वेस्ट टू ऑल टू बी रेगुलर. ओके, ये आपके लिए ही है. आप नहीं जाएंगे तो आपका ही लॉस होगा. नो, एक कंटिन्यूटी रहने से क्या होता है कि इंटरेस्ट डेवलप रहता है. ओके, मेक अ नोट ऑफ इट. RBC, WBC are produced in the bone marrow and are destroyed in the spleen. SPLEEN. Okay. Now after this, you can write RBC lifespan is 120 days, and hence write it down. The RBC's lifespan is 120 days, and hence these are, and hence these bloods can be transfused, or these bloods can be transfused or used within 4 months or within 4 months. Okay. Now after this, please write it down. In the WBC, the main function of the WBC is what? Tell me. Defense mechanism. Defense mechanism. Is this part clear? Now here also they are produced in the bone marrow and destroyed in the spleen. Okay. Now platelets main function is clotting of blood in presence of calcium ions, and plasma is the fluid part of the blood having water. Fluid part of blood having water as maximum composition. Along with that, salts are there. Is this part clear? Yes or no? Understood? Now after this, we discussed about the lymph also. In the lymph part, in the fluid connective tissues, in the lymph part, जब हम लोग सर्कुलेटरी सिस्टम पढ़ेंगे ना, तो इसके अंदर और हम लोग को ज्यादा डीपर पॉकेट्स में जाने का जरूरत होगा. गेटिंग माय पॉइंट? उस समय हम लोग को जब हार्ट पढ़ना पड़ेगा और हार्ट के साथ लंग्स पढ़ना पड़ेगा। गेटिंग माय पॉइंट? यस और नो? तो उस टाइम में वी हैव टू गो मच डीपर इनटू दिस। गेटिंग मी? सो ओके, ये सुपरफिशियल है, ये ऊपर से ही है, अभी मेन कहानी स्टोरी बाकी है। Understood? Which will be under the heart and the lungs. That will be the circulatory system what we have in our body. Getting my point? तो उस समय आपको और concepts का बताऊंगा. That will be helpful in your solving the exam, means the questions that are asked. Okay. Now after this, lymph. देखिए lymph जो होता है ना, lymph का भी एक अपना separate vessels होता है. Lymph also, lymph is a fluid, you can say, yellowish white fluid, okay, which also flows in particular vessels, predefined vessels in the body. Understood? And they are also responsible for providing the defense mechanism. Getting my point? जब सबसे पहले कभी किसी इंसान को कैंसर होता है ना, तो we have lymph nodes and all. अगर अंडरस्टूड, तो क्या होता है ना कि सबसे पहले डॉक्टर क्या करता है, वो लिम्फ नोड को कट करता है। लिम्फ नोड को इसलिए कट करता है तो डिजीज जो है ना वो अदर पार्ट्स ऑफ द बॉडी में स्प्रेड ना हो। गेटिंग माय पॉइंट? सो अगेन जो लिम्फ का फंक्शन मेन होता है, सो लिम्फ का फिर मेन फंक्शन होता है टू प्रोवाइड डिफेंस मैकेनिज्म। इज दिस पार्ट क्लियर विद एवरीवन? नाउ आफ्टर दिस what we discussed friends, what was the next topic? Bone. So bone के अंदर हम लोगों ने देखा था, बोन के अंदर हम लोगों ने क्या देखा था? टेंडन एंड लिगामेंट। ओके, सो टेंडन एंड लिगामेंट, देखिए ये दो तरह का, वी हैव दिस टू टाइप्स ऑफ fibrous tissues which are found, okay, and one basically connects the bone with the muscles. What is that? The tissues, the fibrous tissues that connects bone with the muscle are called as tendon, and those fibrous tissues which basically connect the bone with the bone, ligament. Remember these points, okay? So bone, the tendon and the ligament, important. It can be asked in some statement. Okay. Now after this bone, now, by the way, how many bones we have in our body? And let me ask you one more small thing. If I talk about the bones, which of the following is which of them is the longest bone of the body? Femur. Femur. Yes or no? And tell me the femur bone, where is it is also known by one more beautiful name. What is that? Huh? Femur bone. Where is it? High bone. That is beauty bone. That is different. High bone is the longest bone of the body. Remember this point. Is this part clear? Now, if I ask you about the smallest one, what is that? Malleus incus and stapes. Yes or no? And this stapes, where is it located? Here. Yeah. Very good. So, the shortest bone of our body is stapes, and the longest bone is femur or the high bone. Is this part clear? Sorry. In hand we have ulna, radius, etc., etc. Various bones are there. But for your knowledge, you remember that this thigh bone is the longest bone of the body. Is this part clear? Now, if I talk about the child and all, right, or infants and all, how many bones in infants they have? Around 306 bones are there. So just roughly, you can say around more 100 bones are there. Getting my point? Yes or no? So infant has how many bones? 306 bones, approximately. Getting my point? Yes or no? But in due course of time, what happens? These 306 bones, they start fusing together. They start fusing together because you must have seen that children, their bodies are much flexible. Yes or no? In comparison to that of an adult. Yes, no. So in due course of time, multiple bones they join together, they confluence together, and this 306 becomes 206 in an adult. Is this part clear with everyone? Yes, no? Now, now those type of tissues which are connecting, bone to bone, this is called as ligament, and those type of tissues which are responsible for connecting bones with the muscles. Answer should be tendon. Crystal clear, everyone? Now after this, moving ahead, what was the next topic? Cartilage. So cartilage are, what are the cartilage? These are the sugars and the proteins, and these are responsible for what? For making the joints smooth. For making the joints smooth. So cartilage helps in making the joints movement smooth. Is this part clear with everyone? Yes or no? Now here in cartilage we say that these are found where? Where are they found? Nose tips, nose tips, ear pinna, and in other joints where they have joints. Is this part clear? So these tissues basically, the cartilage basically makes the movement. Is this part clear? Yes, no? Okay. Now, after this, what I discussed yesterday, friends, please tell me. The another one was the areolar tissues. Areolar tissues. So areolar tissues are basically the tissues which are found between the bones and the muscles. Yes or no? Oh, sorry. Muscles and the skin. Sorry. Muscles and the skin. The gaps, yeah. The gaps between the skin and the muscles are filled up with certain tissues. So these tissues are called as a areolar tissues. And I also said about the areolar tissues, it can be, I compared that with that of parenchyma. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. Parenchyma tissues. Now, after this, the next one was adipose tissues. So adipose tissues are responsible for storage of fats. Storage of fats. Very good. Storage of fats and heat insulation. Getting my point? Yes or no? Storage of fats and heat insulations. Okay. So this was all about this connective tissue, right? After this, muscular tissues. In the muscular tissues, we discussed about two types of broadly classified tissues. The muscular tissues, which are these two types of tissues? Striated and unstriated. Striated and unstriated. Striated means voluntary. This is involuntary. What do you mean by voluntary and involuntary? Controlled by our will, and those which cannot be controlled by our will. Is this part clear? So examples we gave like involuntary, so biceps, triceps, okay, etc., etc. Now I also discussed about the involuntary muscles also. Yes or no? What were these? Eye muscles, heart muscles, brain muscles, intestinal muscles, etc., etc. Yes or no? This part is clear? Yes, no? Now, one more thing I said that there are certain types of this chemicals which are released and they are in the body and that is responsible for the muscular contraction. What was the name of that? Actin and myosin. One more protein is also involved in the contraction of the muscles. What is that? Contractile protein. I also said one more thing, contractile protein. I also said one more thing. There are certain elements which are responsible for the muscular contractions. What are these? Sodium, potassium. What is clear? Yes or no? And to a certain extent, calcium also plays a role over here. Okay. And certain elements are there, but sodium, potassium are important. Understood this part? That is why we say that we should have a balanced diet. We should not focus on just rice and rice and potato and pulses. We should have a balanced diet. Ready my point? Balanced diet means it will give you certain micronutrients also. Understanding my point? Micronutrient means in very small quantity it must be taken by us. Otherwise, various diseases can occur to us. Is this part clear? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, like muscular paralysis is there, the nervous breakdown is there, then deficiency of vitamin 12, B12. Okay, again anemia and all, pernicious anemia, many things can happen. Is this part clear? So having this we have to have a balanced diet in our food. Is this part clear? So you can see how much important is sodium, potassium. When we eat the salt should be always iodized salt. Getting my point? Yes or no? Understanding my point? So because in the iodized salt we have iodine, along with that we have sodium also and chlorine also. Is this part clear? Yes, no? Yes. And if we take the sodium and all, so it will be good for our muscular contraction also. It will also be important for our nervous system also. The transmissions of the informations also. Understanding my point? Yes, no? Getting my point? Okay. Now, after this, I also discussed about the nervous tissues, right? The nervous tissues, I said that the nervous tissues, the unit is called as unit is a neuron. Unit is a neurons. Okay. Now multiple neurons they combine together and they transport the information. So these informations are transported in the form of electric signals. The point of contact between the two neurons is called as synapse. The chemical that is responsible for the transmission is called as acetylcholine. Some elements which are important for the neurotransmissions are sodium, potassium, calcium. Ready my point? Yes or no? So acetylcholine is also known as a neurotransmitter also. Neurotransmitter. They will ask you, which of the following is an example of a neurotransmitter? Answer should be acetylcholine. Is this part clear with everyone? Yes, no? Understood? So I think I discussed till here only. Clear? Yes. Now after this, I gave you some homework. To I said you all to just study and just draw some flowchart related to the classification of the organisms. Yes or no? Have you done that? No. Okay. No problem. Make a heading classification of the organisms. Huh? Yeah. Chapter 3. Under this, you first please write taxonomy. Please write. This is a branch of science. Please write taxonomy. This is a branch of science which basically deals with the branch of science which basically deals with the classification of the organisms. Which basically deals with the classification of the organisms such that such that the similar group such that the similar group of organisms on the basis of a similar group of organisms on the basis of their shared SHARED, their characteristics shared characteristics are grouped together are grouped together. After this, you please write the father of taxonomy. He is Carl Linnaeus. He was a Swedish botanist who is regarded as the father of taxonomy, Carl Linnaeus. Is this part clear with everyone? Now, in his book, he published very important book. Sometimes it is asked in the exam. Its name is Systema Naturae. 2 volumes was published. Learn by heart, important. Systema Naturae. Please write it down. One more thing about Carl Linnaeus was he was the person to introduce the binomial nomenclature. He was the person to introduce binomial nomenclature. Please write it out. The person who was responsible for introduction of the binomial nomenclature is Carl Linnaeus. Is this part clear? Yes or no? Binomial nomenclature is naming of the organisms. Getting my point? Yes or no? Like we say now, Homo sapiens, Naja, Naja, etc., etc. Yes or no? For that cobra. Yes or no? So it was basically who was the father or who is regarded as the originator. So it is the Swedish botanist. His name was Carl Linnaeus. This part is clear. Now he also was responsible for publishing a book called as Systema Naturae. Is this part clear? One more book he published. Please write. He also published. He also published. He also published a book named as a species planetarum. He also published a book named as a species planetarum. Plantarum. 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 He also published a book named as a species plantarum. Okay, and this book was similar to the book, and this book was similar to the book Systema Naturae. The main difference was the species plantarum was particularly talking about the plant species. Okay, getting my point? Whereas Systema Naturae herein animal species were mostly present. This part is clear? Yes or no? So in the species plantarum, mostly the plant species and its descriptions were published, whereas in the Systema Naturae, mostly the animal species and its descriptions he gave. Is this part clear with everyone? Yes or no? Now, moving ahead, friends, if I talk about the classification again, so classification of the organisms from time to time have been given by different scholars. Understanding my point? So someone has given two kingdom classification, like Carl Linnaeus, he gave two kingdom classification. Then again, there was one again a scholar. His name was Ernst Haeckel. He gave three kingdom classification. Getting my point? Then again, in due course of time, one more scholar came. His name was this Copeland. Copeland, he propounded the four kingdom classification. Getting my point? Then again, in due course of time, one more scholar he came, his name was Whitaker. Getting my point? And he gave a five kingdom classification. Understanding my point? So these classifications were based on the groups or the species similarity, their origin, their ancestry, their mode of nutrition, their body organization, and their cellular level, etc., etc. Getting my point? Yes, yes. Understood. And just this classification was done just to benefit the scholars and the researchers so that they have a clear and a deeper understanding about a particular group of organisms. They may be a prokaryotic or a eukaryotic. They may be a plant or a animal. Is this part clear with everyone? Yes or no? So after this, friends, you can write the importance of the classification. Please write importance. Importance of the classification. Are you still there? Yes. Stay in the call, right? Uh, okay. You can write here the importance in the classification. You can write this. It helps the researchers. It helps the researchers and the scholars. Importance of the classification. It helps the researchers and the scholars to study and understand to study and understand the different groups of the organisms, their ancestral, their ancestral, their ancestral history, their body organization level, mode of nutrition, their producing capability, as well as the producing capability, as well as the environmental assessment, as well as the environmental assessment. Written. Yes, sir. Now, after this, you can write the classification. The classifications have been done on certain basis. Okay. So now the largest, you can say the largest basis of classification is, please write it down. This largest is a domain, or broadest you can write, not largest. This is the broadest level of classification. Please, just the thing is, you just mug up this flow chart, okay? Yes, no. So if they ask you the broadest level of classification is what? Answer should be domain. Is this part clear to everyone? Then they will ask you the second one, the highest level of classification. In that, it will be kingdom. Is this part clear? So just like this, after domain, right, kingdom, then phylum, phylum, phylum. Then you can go with this class, order, family, class, order, then family, then we have genus, and then we have species. Is this part clear? So what they will give you in the exam, they will give you 4 terminologies from here. Is this part clear? Yes, no. And then they will ask you to arrange descending or ascending order. Ah, understanding, no? Depending upon their strength and their broadness. Clear? They will ask you to arrange in ascending or a descending order. Is this part clear? So you just have to mug up this flow chart. So this is the highest level of classification. Is this part clear? Highest level of classification is what? The kingdom. Understood? Yes, no? Yes. What I would say to you all, you do one thing, you do one homework over here, okay? It will give you a very clear picture, okay? Your homework will be the classification of human beings. You please do that. Classification of a human. Is this part clear? Can you do that? Yes, no? Easy है ना? कर सकते हैं ना? Let me help you. Genus is Homo and the species is Sapiens. Remaining you put and show me. Can you do that? Okay. Please do and come tomorrow. Okay. This is important. Now, friends, can I move ahead? Can I move ahead? Okay. Now, if they ask me in the exam, which is the smallest level of classification, what should be the answer? Species. The highest level of classification, what should be the answer? Kingdom. If they ask you the broadest level of classification, Crystal clear? Now let's move ahead. Right? First one, two kingdom classification. Okay. Right here. This was propounded by Carl Linnaeus. Two kingdom classification was propounded by Carl Linnaeus. Under this, he divided two broad categories, Plante and Animalia. Plante and Animalia. This written. Now in the Plante, you can write one line. Okay, you can write that they have cell wall and chlorophyll. What basis he chose? He said they have a cell wall, they have chlorophyll, and since they have chlorophyll, they perform photosynthesis. Getting my point? And this photosynthesis, when they perform, so it means that they are rare autotrophs. Excellent. Is this not clear with everyone, friends? Yes or no? Now, with respect to animal, he said that these animals they don't have cell wall. So they have absent of cell wall. Clear? Now, second he said that chlorophyll in plantae, they don't have chlorophyll. So when they don't have chlorophyll, they will not perform photosynthesis. Okay? And when they don't perform photosynthesis, so they have to be dependent upon another organisms. Is this part clear? So they have to be dependent upon other organisms for what? For the mode of nutrition. Is this part clear? So and hence they can be called as a heterotrophs. This part is clear, everyone? So we can write it down here. Called as a heterotrophs. Understood? Is this part clear with everyone? But do you think his classification was correct? Do you think that? No. It can be said that the classification that Carl Linnaeus he made, it was like vague kind of. Yes or no? He did not consider about the prokaryotic and the eukaryotic cells. Yes or no? He did not consider around various microorganisms such as bacteria, protozoans, and fungi, and etc., algae and all. Is this part clear? Yes, no? So many loopholes were there in his classification, and hence it was not accepted widely. Understood? Now later on, what happened? Upgraded version came after few years. Its name was the three kingdom classification. Write it down. This three kingdom classification was propounded by Hans Haeckel. He divided the entire organisms into three broad categories. Okay. So one was this bacteria, right? One was protista, that included bacteria. Another was plantae. Okay. And the third one was animalia. In the protista, please write. He kept microorganisms. Understanding? Yes, no? Yes. Yes. Okay, microorganisms that included bacteria, algae, protozoans, etc., etc. Okay. Again, the plants, mostly the autotrophs, or multicellular, and animalia are, you can say, heterotrophs, and these are also multicellular. Please write it down. Done? Very good. Understanding? No. Classification? Yes, no. One question it is asked every year. Every year, one question. Favorite area. Every year, one question. You check last 10 years question. Every year. One is minimum in UPSC, not in the state PCS. State PCS hardly they will ask you with it till here only. The state PCS gets over here only. Understood? Yes, no. Hardly the state PCS, they'll ask you the three kingdom classification was propounded one. Answer. Hardly if the question is very hard that year, then they will ask you which of the following is not covered under the three kingdom classification. Getting my point? This is state PCS. In UPSC, you have to dig more pockets. Understood? So this is about the three kingdom classification. Now write the fourth kingdom classification. Four kingdom classification. Four kingdom classification was founded by Copeland, mug up the names or the propounder's name. Very important. Okay. Now, which were these four branches? Copeland, Copeland. Please write it down. Copeland, he said Monera protista plante animalia. Getting my point, these things. Yes, no. This one, plante. This one, Monera. Monera. Bacteria and all, na. Understood? Yes, so bacteria and all, they are kept under mononeurons only. Primitive nucleus, mononeurons only. Understanding my point? Prokaryotes are put under the mononeurons only. Understanding my point? Yes, no. Sometimes it is asked in the exam. The prokaryotics, bacteria and all are kept under. They are kept under mononeurons. Is this part clear? Yes, no. Now after this, protista, if I talk about mononeurons, friends, so mononeurons, you can say these are the prokaryotic organisms, prokaryotic, unicellular, prokaryotic unicellular microorganisms. Please write it down. Properties is very important. एक प्रॉपर्टी भी गलत लिखा तो पूरा टॉपिक गलत हो जाएगा. Understanding my point? Yes, no. So if I say mononeurons, so mononeurons basically they were the prokaryotic unicellular, not multicellular, unicellular, and they are microorganisms. Is this part clear with everyone? One more thing you have to add here is that the mononeurons can be autotrophs also, it can be heterotrophs also. You can add this together. Understood? Yes, no. It can be autotrophs also and it can be heterotrophs also. And I hope by this time you are aware that what do you mean by a prokaryotic cells? Yes, no? Yes, yes. This is step by step, going ahead now. Understanding? अगर डायरेक्ट मैं यहाँ से ही शुरू कर देता क्लासिफिकेशन से तो शायद आपको समझ में नहीं आ पाता. अगर मैंने प्रोकैरियोट्स एंड यूकैरियोट्स का डिफरेंसेस और सेल ऑर्गेनेल्स नहीं बताया होता तो शायद आप यही समझ नहीं पाते. Ready my point? But now you can connect the dots. Yes, so okay. Now moving ahead, if they ask you the mononeurons or the bacteria are only autotrophs, statement right or wrong? Wrong. Why? Because they can be heterotrophs also. Crystal clear, everyone? Now after this, protista. Protista भी unicellular ही हो रहा है. There is nothing much difference between this and this. But the major difference is you know what is that? It is a prokaryote. It is a eukaryote. Understood? So in line of evolution, in the transition phase, the first one to come on this planet Earth was mononeurons. Gradually, the advanced cells they started developing, and the first stage was the protista. Is this part clear with everyone? Getting my point? Any problem there? Discussions going, it might be. Huh? Okay. So, eukaryotics, and these are also unicellular. You can write here. And friends, and you can say that these are also microorganisms only, and microorganisms only, and you can write here, are the protistas only autotrophs? Are the protistas only autotrophs, or can it be heterotrophs also? How many of you agree with me? It will be both. Raise the hand. Okay. And how many of you say it will be only autotrophs? Only heterotrophs. So the rest, where you will go? One side only. They say both. Rest, say someone with the autotrophs or heterotrophs. Answer should be both. Is this part clear? So these protistas, friends, these are both auto also and hetero also. Is this part clear? So examples like we can say like in autotrophs we can say diatoms, euglena, diatoms, chlorella, etc., etc. All this will be the part of All these will be the part of protista, or they are the autotrophs. Is this part clear with everyone? You can write, if you want, you can write there fastly, or you can write there also, or later also you can write. If you are discussing here, you please write here. Write here examples. Autotrophic protista, write it down firstly. Autotrophic protista example, please write. What will you write? Chlorella, chlorella. Mark up the names. This is UPSC preparation. Mark up the names. Because when after some time I discuss some questions with you now, that time you will hold like this only. This type of options are being put in the answer in the question papers. Understood? No. Mark up the names, right? Chlorella, chlorella, CHLORELLA. Written. Chlorella, written. It is also known as a green algae. Also known as a green algae. In the bracket, you can write green algae. Written, comma. Euglena, 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 Euglena. Written, then write diatoms, DIATOMS, etc. Clear? In this diatoms. Understood? Now, in this you please write, in the heterotrophic protista, please write paramecium. Paramecium, paramecium, MECIUM. Written? It can be amoeba also. Amoeba, AMOEBA, etc., etc. Okay? What is this? Okay, if someone asks, does it make some sound or what? Okay. Paramecium and paramecium, amoeba, etc., etc. Is this part clear? Now, after this, you can write plantain. In the plantain, you please write multicellular, autotroph, with cell wall. In the animalia, please write no cell wall, no cell wall. Then write heterotrophs and multicellular. This part is clear. No cell wall, heterotrophs and multicellular. Understood? So this was presented by Copeland. However, do you think is it sufficient? Still something is missing. Yes or no? Yes or no? What is that? Fungi. So these are also some small organisms only, microorganisms only, but still what they have is they are having the cell wall. Yes, but they are heterotrophs. Is this part clear with everyone? That means that they are multicellular. Some fungi are unicellular also. Some can be multicellular also. Is this part clear? Yes, no. That is why I used one term microorganism sometime back for fungi. Yes or no? So this can be unicellular also. It can be multicellular also. They have a cell wall also, but they are heterotrophs. Is this part clear with everyone? That thing Copeland, he did not place. He put fungi in the plant only. Is this part clear with everyone? So there was no clear differentiation between what will be the plantae, what will be in the protista. Is this part clear? So which was later on rectified in due course of time by one more scholar. Please write it down. The 5 kingdom classification. This is most important. The 5 kingdom classification. This was propounded by Whitaker. I think he was Robert Whitaker or something like that. Yes or no? R.H. Whitaker. R stands for Robert only, I think. Yes or no? Please check it. I think it was Robert only. Ah, Robert Whitaker only. Okay. So please write. The five kingdom classification was propounded by R.H. Whitaker or Robert H. Whitaker. Now, according to him, he classified. First one was Goyana. Please draw this flowchart with me only. Okay. Unicellular eukaryotes, multicellular, perform P. If I have written P means photosynthesis, okay? This flowchart is clear? Yes or no? Flowchart is clear. So they may ask you some examples or with respect to this, their characteristics you have to mug up those. Understood? So let's do a quick recap. Monra, what will be included in this? All the bacteria and PGA. PGA stands for also known as cyanobacteria. Then mycoplasma. Then EPLO. Is this part clear with everyone? Yes, no? Understanding? Then after this, those are perform unicellular, and these are called as microorganisms are called as protista. I think I have given you the features of protista earlier also. Have you written that? Yes, no. So it can be again two types. One is a autotroph and the other one is a heterotroph. For autotrophs, the answer will be diatoms, euglena, chlorella, etc., etc. Getting my point? If I ask you about heterotrophs, answer should be paramecium, amoeba, etc., etc. Is this part clear? Yes, no. Now, after this, moving ahead, we have multicellular organisms. So, in the multicellular organisms, eukaryotic in nature. Is this part clear? Eukaryotic, multicellular. Multicellular with cell wall. Multicellular with cell wall. And with cell wall, don't perform photosynthesis. Is this part clear? Yes, no. Yes. This will be fungi. This will be fungi. Okay. But here you can write over here. One exception is there. You can write like yeast. Have you heard about yeast? YEAST? Yeast is a fungi. Okay. Friends, yeast is a fungi. Okay. That is my point. In the beverage industries and all, in the this food and beverages drinks, we use this. Clear? However, friends, one thing you please remember, this yeast is a unicellular fungi. It's not a multicellular. Is this part clear? Although we have put this in multicellular branch. Yes or no? Yes, no? Yes. But this will be an exception. Clear? You can write it down. Yeast, a unicellular fungi. Now, are fungi autotrophs or are they heterotrophs? Auto or hetero? Why? Because they don't perform photosynthesis. Crystal clear? Now, one more thing I would like to mention here, that the association between a algae and a fungi. Okay, the association between a algae and a fungi, a symbiotic relationship is together called as lichens. Is this part clear? So you can mention here, after this you can mention here, association of algae and fungi are called as lichens. Association of algae and fungi are called as lichens. And lichens are by the way, very good. Very good. They are good, very environmental pollution indicators. Just one second. हाँ बोलो. Hello. हम क्लास में हैं. बोलो. कोई बता रहा था कि हम डायरेक्ट क्लास कर रहा था. Okay. So lichens are very good environmental pollution indicators. Is this part clear with everyone? Yes or no? And lichens are nothing but this is a symbiotic association of algae with fungi. Algae with fungi. Crystal clear, everyone? Now, the lichens, friends, they are very good environmental pollution indicators in the sense that they are very good air pollution indicators. This part is clear. Students from science background, remember the lab test in your laboratories. The teacher used to give you the litmus paper, yes or no? Do you remember that? Yes or no? What is that litmus paper? It's only lichens only. Getting my point? It basically it shows where a chemical is acidic or a basic. If it is an acidic, it will turn blue litmus red, and if it is a basic, it will turn red litmus blue. Understanding my point? Clear? Any doubt? कुछ डाउट है पीछे? Okay, so you can write over here that this association of algae and fungi are called as lichens written, and lichens are very good air pollution indicators. Please write it down there only. Association of algae and fungi is called as lichens. Is this part clear? Now, association of algae and fungi is how? It is a symbiotic association. Symbiotic means you give me food, I will give you protection. Is this part clear? So, now, algae and fungi, they are having a symbiotic relationship with each other. So when both the parties are mutually benefited. The parties are mutually benefited. And lichens are also regarded as a very good environmental pollution indicators, particularly the air pollution indicators. Is this part clear with everyone? After this, you can add one more point there that the lichens are regarded as a keystone species. Please write it down. Lichens are also regarded as, give a star mark there and then write lichens regarded as keystone species. Is this part clear? Your homework will be very important question for UPSC from UPSC perspective. Okay. Yes. So this you have to study and come tomorrow. Let me ask you, what do you mean by keystone species? Although it's a part of environment and that part question, but still, biology and environment little bit they are almost interlinked with each other. Very well point. Yes, no. So I am having a habit of teaching in a way that I used to collect the things and then teach, so that many wide diversified information stays in the minds of the students, and that helps them to eliminate the wrong options and arrive at the right. So this part clear with everyone. And the last one is, what was the last one? Plantain is like multicellular. No need to mention much. Multicellular with cell wall. Getting my point? And they are autotrophs. This part is clear. Animalia similarly, eukaryotic, multicellular, then without cell wall, and then heterotrophs. Clear? Easy to understand. Yes, so. So have a break. They will assemble by 4. All right. Let me also have. Okay. You also have. Okay. See you.